No matter where you come from, no matter where you're going, here's a place where you can take comfort in the knowing that whether if you've come to stay a while or just passing through, this door is open to you. Come and let's be silent. Come and share a hug. Come, let's pray together. Come, love and be loved. From the blissed out to the turned out, from the pampered to the abused, this door is open to you. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. The God in us recognizes the God in you. The God in you. Whether you're black or white, gay or straight, Christian, Buddhist or Jew, this door is open to you. If there's some kind of trouble or pain you're going through, know that you are not alone and someone cares for you. As an individualization of divine point of view, this door is open to you. This door is open. This door right here, this door is open for you. This door is open to you.
Good morning. This door is open to you. Thank you for being here. Give yourself a hand this morning. Thank you for being here. And for your willingness to mask up. You know, I know that's a very controversial issue and it's not an easy thing to do, but my philosophy is why not err on the side of caution? And I don't think any of us will be the worse for wearing it for an hour. So thank you for your willingness to do that. Would you turn and just give a welcome to our live streamers that are joining us from home, from around, from whatever time zone, from wherever you are. These doors are open for you. My name is Darlene Strickland. I'm the senior minister here, and I've had the opportunity to have a little time off for my birthday. You know, you got to celebrate and go play. But you were in very good hands, and today we're so excited to have Rhoda Weaver with us, along with our band of Dave, Richard, and Pete. And Renee Twiley is going to share. She's got about a 3-minute inspirational sharing in just a few minutes, as today we're going to talk about potential. Gary Zukav said, "What is behind your eyes holds far more power than what is in front of them." It is so true. And so what is it to explore our potential? I titled today, Remember Your Potential, and remember YOU''RE. Remember, you are potential. We're going to talk about that today. Let's begin with a time of prayer. As we turn our awareness within, we do so in that spirit of gratitude. Gratitude has the eyes to recognize the gift. Gratitude is the willingness to recognize the potential in the midst of all things. Gratitude is the willingness to remain open, to keep ourselves pointed in a direction that says, I will be a blessing. It is to wrestle with the angel that may be before us, to say that I will remain open to my blessing. For I know there is far more potential available than may currently be present. Today we open to this divine potential as our very essence and as constant availability. And so we give thanks for what it is to explore this individually and collectively. And for this time together, we are truly grateful. Thank you, God. And so it is. Amen. We want to acknowledge our youth program. Reverend Gabby and Reverend Barbara Ann are having a Sunday school with our children out on the covered patio. So parents, I don't see any children in here, but just know that. And we also have little Sunday school kits in a bag if they want to stay in here with you, which is absolutely fine. Rhoda Weaver is just one of our all-time favorites, friends, and it's such a treat when we have the opportunity to see Rhoda. She's going to kick us off with a very familiar song by Daniel Nahmod that says, One Power. But would you show her some love? Rhoda Weaver.
One power, one power, one power. There's one power invisible, and you see it everywhere and every day. One power indescribable, and you speak of it with every word you say. Mysterious until you know the truth. As simple as the love inside of you. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, angels' wings, or heaven's door. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? It's the power of the love in you and me. One power, one power, one power. We speak so many languages, have different clothing, different colors, different names. But different is only dangerous when we forget that in our hearts we're all the same. We'll remember once we close our eyes to see that such differences were never meant to be. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, Hashem, or heaven's doors. It's Muhammad, it's your mind, it's your soul, or it's your sign. It's the universe, it's music, it's Mother Earth, her Father Time. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? Whatever name you give it, it's the power of the love in you and me. One power, one power, one power. It's the moment of creation. It's an everlasting peace. It's the freedom of forgiveness. It's the sweetness of release. It's the joy of inspiration. It's the sunshine on your face. It's the birthright of all nations. It's the boundlessness of space. It's the beauty of a baby, the serenity of sleep. It's the anger we abandon for the love that's most deep. It's one power, oh, one power, oh, it's the power of the love that lives forever in you and me. It's the power of the love that lives forever in you and me.
ahead. Oh, Rhoda Weaver. Oh, Rhoda, thank you.
When Reverend Darlene asked me to do kind of a reading today, I was excited. I was nervous, but I was excited. And then she said what the theme is, and she said potential. And then I really got excited because that word is packed full of power, potential. How wonderful. It's the capacity to evolve into something greater. It's the fulfillment of our highest purpose as we evolve from the point of birth to the point of completion, or what some people would call the point of death. I like to call the return to source. That's just me. Every life form has this capacity or inner calling where its soul knows it has the potential to evolve into something bigger, something better, something more purposeful. And one of the best examples of this amazing power of potential can be found in this tiny little acorn. Some of you may have it in your possession now. I wanted you to touch it and see it and feel it so that you can feel this power of potential. Thank you, Estelle. That tiny little acorn, somehow it knows that there's a living plant inside itself that has the potential to expand and grow into this beautiful, massive, mighty oak tree. Isn't that powerful? The power. For me, that's unimaginable. That is unimaginable that something this tiny can survive and grow and expand and stretch to that amazing, beautiful, stunning, mighty oak tree. For me, that's the mystery of life. That's the magic of life. And that's the magnificence of life. But it takes tenacity and perseverance to be able to withstand all the harsh challenges of life. And truth is, most acorns don't survive the mission. Only 1 in 10,000 can withstand the brutal, harsh winters. Only 1 in 10,000 can escape the predatory birds and animals that love to eat this tiny little acorn. Only 1 in 10,000 can manage to bury its roots deep into the soil so that it can capture the nutrients and the water and the soil, giving it a chance, a fighting chance to survive and grow and reach its highest potential. Now, each one of us has the capacity to reach our highest potential. But do you have the tenacity to persevere through life's challenges? Are you that 1 in 10,000 little acorns that not only survives, but strives and thrives to reach your highest purpose, your highest potential? Thank you for letting me share.
I keep fighting voices in my mind that say I'm not enough. 'Cause 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 'C every single lie that tells me I will never measure up. Am I more than just the sum of every high and every low? Remind me who I am once again, because I need to know. Ooh, oh, you say I am loved when I can't feel a thing, and you say I am strong when I think I am weak. You say I am held when I am falling short, when I don't belong. Oh, you say I am yours, and I believe. Oh, I believe what you say of me. I believe. The only thing that matters now is everything you think of me. In you I find my worth, in you I find my identity. Ooh, oh, you say I am loved when I can't feel a thing, and you say I am strong when I think I am weak, and you say I am held when I am falling short, and when I don't belong. Oh, you say I am yours, and I believe. Oh, I believe what you say of me. I believe. Taking all I have, and now I'm laying it at your feet. You have every failure, God. You have every victory. Ooh, oh, you say I am loved when I can't feel a thing, and you say I am strong when I think I am weak. You say I am held when I am falling short, and when I don't belong. Oh, you say I am yours, and I believe. Oh, I believe what you say of me. I believe. Oh, I believe. Yes, I believe what you say of me. I believe.
Woo! Yes. Wow. Whoa, I believe. Rhoda, thank you. Thank you, Dave, Richard, and Pete. They'll be back in a little bit, but would you show them your love? Thank you so much. Wow. That song means so much to so many because it speaks to our potential. A few weeks ago I talked about God as the way that Jesus related to God. Jesus saw God as beyond the infinite. Jesus saw God as beside the intimate. And Jesus saw God as the I am, the eternal. And however we sing to that God, it leads us to realize that we are never alone. And that song, I believe, speaks to so many because we feel the power of our potential in relationship with the power of the universe. How many of you can just feel that? Rhoda, that was absolutely beautiful, and Renee, that was beautiful. Renee found us during COVID in 2020, and New Thought was new to her. Unity was new to her, but I'd say she caught on very fast, wouldn't you? Renee, thank you. So remember your potential. Remember you are potential. Ephesians 3:20 says it this way. God, source, essence, sustainer of my being, you created me. You say, I can exceed abundantly above all that I may ask or think, according to the Spirit that dwells within me and the power that works in me. That's speaking to our potential. Interestingly, when I had some time off, I'm an avid reader. I love to read, so even when I take vacation, I just read more. And I stumbled across something very interesting, and that is that deep inside a mountain in the Arctic Circle, it's between Norway and the North Pole, there is a global seed vault. It's the World Seed Bank. I don't know if anybody knew that, but that was new to me. It's a long-term storage facility that is built to withstand the test of time. It's built to withstand the man-made disasters and natural disasters. That seed vault holds the world's largest crop of seeds. Currently, it holds more than 1 million samples. And it holds seeds from almost every country in the world. And they range from some of the most indigenous types of crops, such as maize, rice, wheat, cowpea, sorghum, to some of the newer eggplant, lettuce, barley, potato. It holds everything. It holds millions of seeds, and almost every country in the world has made a deposit of their seeds in this vault. And to date, and it was relatively recently, to date, only one country has needed to make a withdrawal. It was the country of Syria, because of the civil war in Syria and how it so devastated the land. They literally had to go back and ask for seeds, and we're very grateful to have those to be able to start again. But I began to visualize, and I thought, man, I'd love to go and see that huge vault, because it's not just tiny seeds. They have little crops of things, and it can hold over 4.5 million. And I thought I'd love to see that, and my mind began to think, can you imagine the magnitude of such potential that is there? And when I began to think about that magnitude of potential, I then began to think about, there is another seed vault, if you will. There is another container of potential that is known as this universe, God, all that is. We live inside a seed vault, if you will, a magnitude of this repository of such potential. And I went on to think that even I am, you are, we are, that we are storehouses of potential. I asked Renee to talk about, read something about potential. I didn't know she was going to almost preach my lesson today. But it was perfect, because the perfect symbol is an acorn. And she even gave each and every one of you one, which to me is perfect. I actually keep an acorn on my altar because to me it represents potential. What this represents is it's that we are all a storehouse of divine potential. I believe that's why the scriptures say, to all that believe, to those who believe, all things are possible. And as I began to think about potential this week, I thought, maybe a more accurate or a more understandable translation would be, in all things, in all states, in all conditions, possibility always exists. That in all things, in all states, possibility always exists. And so our life is really rooted in the infinite field of potentiality. Our life is guided. I believe each and every one of us are guided by our potential. Just like this acorn doesn't have to decide, is it going to be an apple, a squash, or an oak tree? It is in pattern to be what it is. That's what the word Christ means. Christ is the pattern of your potential as a divine human being. That archetype, that master seed is held in the Christ, and it is a part of each and every one of us, and it is impelling us from within to release and to realize this potential. I think that's also why Jesus talked often about seeds, to the people of his time. He used one analogy when he said, if your faith is like a mustard seed, and he used a mustard seed because to that culture, the mustard seed was the tiniest. It's not much bigger than a speck of pepper, a freshly ground pepper. It's just a little speck. But what he was saying is, don't let the form fool you, because the potential is boundless. And that's the truth of us. Don't let the form fool you. Don't let the appearance fool you, because the potential is absolutely boundless. So today we're going to look a little bit at potential. Will you turn this off if you can? And then next week, Kat's going to be back with us, and she's going to share a little bit. We've got something excited created. But the week after that, I'm going to do a part 2 to this, so I just want you to know we're going to go deep on it. The word potential comes from the Latin potentia. It means power. Potential is actually power or energy, we could say, in the spirit realm that is waiting to be manifest. It's the energy of possibility. Potential is based on seeds of possibility that already exist. I believe, again, that's why the scriptures say that even before you ask, it is answered. Why? Because anything we can think of, if we're thinking of it, the potential for that thing exists at some level. So just as the acorn is the storehouse of potential, we too are a divine seed, a storehouse of potential, and that nothing emerges out of the blue, that everything comes from this field of infinite potentiality. Where does potential come from? Ultimately, all potential comes from source, from nature. It's built in. I would say it comes from God, G-O-D, the grand operational design. That the grand operational design, the operating system of the Creator is built into the creation, and that means that potential is inherent within us. Now, that's not meant to make us feel guilty. Have you ever had someone look at you or you knew they were thinking it? It's like, when will you ever live up to your potential? And it just feels like, ugh. It's not meant to feel like that, but it's meant for us to know that as long as we have skin on, there is still a greater depth of love, of light. There's still a greater depth of the goodness of all that we are that can be experienced and brought forth. It doesn't matter who you are, where you are in your stage or state of life. Acorns don't compete and say, I'm a prettier acorn than you. I survived last winter. I'm shiny, you're dull. I'm fat, you're skinny. No, I'm skinny, you're fat. It doesn't say that. Acorns don't compete with other acorns. Acorns just want the opportunity to realize and release their potential. We just spend so much time competing with other acorns. And so to know that nature potential is natural. Years ago, early in my career, when I was really very young, I taught kindergarten 1 year, thinking that might be my calling, and 4-year-olds were not my calling. But I really enjoyed 1 year and made a lot of 1 year. And one of the things that we did is I wanted to plant seeds with the kids, and so I researched what are fast-growing seeds, and I got peas and lettuce, and we put those in jars, big jars, so they could see what was happening. And then outside we planted some radish and pumpkins and flowers. And the kids enjoyed getting dirty and planting, and then they're like, what? Then they lost interest because they couldn't see anything. But then as they started watching and they started seeing movement in the dirt, as they started seeing little things come up, and I'll never forget, the most exciting was when lettuce appeared. The day we came back from a weekend and lettuce had appeared, you would have thought SpongeBob showed up. I mean, it was, and this is pre-SpongeBob. But the kids were like, it's magic, it's alive. And I'll forget one little boy said, it's lettuce coming from the dirt. And he said, my mom gets our lettuce from a bag at the grocery store. But the goal in that lesson is to help them make the source connection. The goal in this lesson is to help us remember the source connection. That our potential, there is a level of self, and we'll get to that. There's definitely our part, but potential is source generated. I mean, and it's source originated. It is there, just like the magic of the dirt. If you put something in it, I harvested potatoes this week that I didn't even plant this year. I had a vine last year that just somehow went defunct, and I never got any potatoes, but it came back this year, and I got a beautiful bowl full of potatoes. Nature just does that. Nature is always wanting to bring forth potential. And so potential comes from source, nature we could say, but it also requires nurture, just as Renee talked about. You see, a tree grows naturally and produces an acorn. A tomato plant naturally produces tomatoes. A baby is naturally designed to sequentially unfold and develop. Sequential is a word, important. The body's intelligence is naturally capable of healing cuts or broken bones. And the acorn needs certain conditions to bring it forth. The plant requires that conditions be present and maintained to bring forth its potential. The baby must have care, protection, nurturance in order to realize its potential. The cut or the broken bone must have a healing environment versus a what? A toxic environment. That's what Jesus meant, I believe, in the parable of the seeds. When he told those among him, he said, the seeds are just there. Seeds are always going to be sown, and some are going to fall on rocky ground. They're not going to make it. Some are going to be choked up by the weeds. They don't make it. Some are going to be carried away by the birds. But if the conditions are fertile, those seeds will manifest into the potential. He was telling those listeners if they could take this to a level of the inner kingdom, that we are the ones that have a lot to do with the conditions that we maintain. Where do we have rocky soil? It's like, nope, been this way forever. It's dry, it's parched, but it works. Go on, seed. I ain't even interested. And then there's those places where there's so much other stuff going on, the potential just gets choked out. There's times we could literally say we were robbed of our potential because we weren't even paying attention, perhaps. But the ability to cultivate in our consciousness, to cultivate in our actions, what the environment, we could say, the environment that is needed. Because potential is built in and it requires our nurturance. And so what I would say is that your life is naturally guided by your indwelling potential. And the conditions we maintain either nurture it or will undermine and hinder it. And so we are always nurturing our potential, or what we could call frustrating our potential. And the bottom line is, here's the key to those conditions, it has to do with how we respond to life. How we respond to whatever is before us determines, will I activate and be available to higher potential, to my own potential, or is my response going to cause it to be on stony ground, choked out, or just totally taken away? How am I going to respond? After I had prepared this talk this week, I get a weekly message from Richard Rohr's Institute. And interestingly, it was about this week, and it was a study that came out from, it was an MRI data that had been collected, and the Heart Math Institute was reflecting this back. And the title of it said, how you respond to stimulus in the outer world determines which neuropathways will be activated. And the bottom line was, if when things happen in our life, if there's a negative response, if there's fight, flight, fear, if there's negative, defend, quit, judge, defend was a big one, the amygdala the reptilian brain kicks in, and what I call our arsenal brain. If something happens, our arsenal fight flight brain kicks in, and our energy goes to giving reasons, making excuses, defending, putting up our walls, all of those things. But if something happens and we can take a deep breath, and one of the best things to do when something happens and you want to say, oh, Lord, or no, or really no, or whatever you want to say, if you could learn to pause and say, that's interesting. Say that with me. That's interesting. You see, what happens there is rather than the reptilian brain kicking in, rather than our arsenal starting to fire, by just simply taking that breath and saying, that's interesting, we literally allow our brain to access more of its potentiality. Now science is telling us exactly what religion and spirituality has told us for many, many years, that it's a matter of how we respond in these situations. And so the nature of our response is key to living up to our potential. The nature of our response sets the conditions for our potential to be activated, opened, enhanced, built upon, we could say, or our response just shuts it down and keeps it very narrow. That life is a continuous process of becoming, and how I respond is key. So I want to tell you three different examples of this that I hope will inspire you. First, did any of you tune into the Olympics this year? I confess I didn't watch as much as normal. There was just so much different stuff going on. It just, quite frankly, didn't feel the same this year. But I did catch something that was very interesting. It was a report about a young woman. Her name is Safan Hassan from the Netherlands. And this woman who, there was so much promise around her, she tripped and fell in the qualifying heat of the 1,500 meters. She'll show you a picture here in just a second. She tripped and she fell. And at that moment of her tripping and falling was pivotal. You know, in a split second, she had to decide, what am I going to do? And NPR said she was undeterred. She got back up, and now she was in last place. But she went on and she passed 1, 2, 3, 10. She passed all 11 people that had passed her. She would go on to win the bronze in that, 2 more gold medals. A reporter asked her what was her strategy, and she says, after what happened this morning, all the drama, she said, you may focus on it, but I knew I couldn't focus on it. She said, my mantra is step by step, I will do my best. It's not about being the best in the world, it's about being my best for the world. Isn't that powerful? She fell, she got up, and she won 3 medals. And I thought, you know, that's powerful, but it's not a miracle. What it is resilience. It's a resilient spirit. It's a spirit that says, I believe in my potential. And I'm not doing this because I have to be the best acorn. I'm not doing this because I have to be the best in the world. I'm doing this because I want to live on the edge of my own becoming. I want to pick myself up. I want to keep going. I want to let life build on all that I've got and all that I can give it. You see, that's the original meaning of when it says, I'm going to lay it down on the altar. It says, I'm going to lay down all that I am. I'm going to lay it all down back to source, because you and you alone can recycle, can grow me into the next evolution of who I am. I'm letting go. I'm going to be unattached, yet still deeply invested, so that the God of my being can bring forth whatever is seeking to be brought forth. Richard, would you give me the song? The second story, true story, comes from Tara Brach, her book, True Refuge. When we think about life being a continuous process of becoming and how we will respond. Tara tells a story about a woman who had come to see her. The woman, if I remember correctly, had her primary religion was the Catholic religion, and she and her husband had been very involved all their lives. But her husband had been sick now for a few years, and it was the doctors had finally said it's time to bring in hospice. He's at the end of his life. Either hospice needs to come in or he's got to go to hospice. There's just no hope. And they had, done everything possible and managed to keep eking out a few more years, but she knew, he knew, they knew. And what he said to his wife, he said, I don't want to go to hospice. They can come in, but he said, honey, you are my person, and I want us to do this together. I want to be home, and I want to do this together. And of course, she smiled, and but inside she's thinking, I don't know. I've never done this. I don't know how to do this. She was terrified. She was terrified that she couldn't hold up. She was terrified that she would not able to be provided what he needed. She was just terrified that she'd mess the whole thing up and mess herself up. She set the intention, and this is what she said. She said, well, I want to do it right. I want to stay focused. I want to be as optimistic as possible. But it just was rocky, and so that's when she went to meet Tara, who's a beautiful meditation teacher. So she shared, one afternoon, my husband Jerry began talking about having only a short time left and about not being afraid of death. And she said, I immediately bent over, gave him a kiss, and said, oh, dear, today's been a good day. You seem to have more energy. I'm going to go make some herbal tea. She said, immediately I felt him deflate. He became silent, and I noticed the distance that I had just created in my response. It became so clear to me in those moments that anything other than listening to what was really going on, anything other than being fully present, anything other than being real and raw, actually separated us. I avoided reality by suggesting a cup of tea, by offering false hope that he was better, because he wasn't. But my attempt to steer away from the truth and what was real created distance, and I realized in that moment the distance it was creating in myself, she said. I still went to boil water, and I felt such fear of letting him down. And so I began to use the techniques I was taught, and I said, well, that's interesting. I am afraid. Is there more? And she said she felt this incredible grief that she'd been trying to stuff down, and she said, yeah, there's more. I'm heartbroken. And she said, and that's interesting, and is there more? And what the more was, I love this man deeply and dearly. So she said in that moment, making that tea, she said, higher power, greater presence, I need you, we need you. I don't know how to do this, but I'm going to be as real and as open as I know how to be, and you better show up for me. She said she was that desperate. And she said by the time she finished making the tea, something literally shifted. And the thought occurred to her, she said, instead of trying to do a good job, I'm going to try to love him well. I'm going to love him as deeply as I can. She said what happened to her when she did that, when she decided that the best thing that she could do was to love him well, she went back in and they had a meaningful conversation, and she said the days after that, she relaxed. It wasn't easy, but she relaxed. And she said there was the way she described it, a field of loving presence all of a sudden became available. A field of loving presence held him, held her, held the situation. And as she wrote this, she said, Jerry is gone. But what has happened, though I miss him and though my life has changed, she said, I now am in relationship with an infinite field of loving presence that I didn't even know was there. And I've come to discover that there's so much more in my life that I didn't even know that was there. You see, that's the beauty of potential. Is there a place in your life that you're called to be real and raw? Is there a place in your life, like the runner, you're being called to pick yourself up and persevere? The third story, I have a cousin, her name is Scarlett. She's 14 years younger than I am. When she was 2.5 years old, she was in an automobile accident with the babysitter. The babysitter was killed in the accident. Scarlett was thrown from the car. When they took her to the hospital, they said she was in a coma for weeks. And they said she'll probably never wake up from the coma, and if she does, she'll be a vegetable. But everybody, of course, prayed, and you never know when things like this happen. You believe there's a soul's plan, and we just held the space. I didn't at 14, 15, 16 years old, but my parents, my aunt, my grandparents, I just remember them, prayer and holding space. And I'll never forget the day Scarlett woke up from that coma and defied the odds. And I'll never forget the day that Scarlett began to learn to speak and all of those things again. She would go on to be, you would see that something had happened, but she is married and has been able to have a wonderful life because there is a potential that is healing and revealing that's always at work if we can make room for it. But what was so beautiful, when she was 4 years old, her mom taught her this song. And she sang it in church, she sang it at family reunion, she sang it everywhere. And she says, sang this song all her life. And it goes like this. I am a promise. I am a possibility. I am a promise with a capital P. I am a great big bundle of potentiality. And if I listen, I can hear God's voice. And if I'm trying, I can make the right choice. I am a promise to be all I am created to be. Life is a continuous process of becoming. How we respond determines if that potential is activated. And so this week I ask you to consider, how is your potential urging you onward and upward? And by upward, I really mean upward in consciousness, deeper into the depths of your true essence. How is potential urging you upward and onward? And then in a couple of weeks, we're going to get into more of the practicality of how do I work with that. But you are a promise. You are a possibility. You are a promise with a capital P. You are a great big bundle of potentiality. And if you listen, you can hear God's voice. And if you aim on trying, you can find the right choice. 'Cause you are a promise to be all you are created to be. I want to invite you to close your eyes. And if you have the acorn already, to hold that. What is a seed but a possibility? What is a possibility but a creation? It is a creation that already exists as a divine idea in the realm of potentiality, in the realm of spirit. And Jesus taught us that you are in the world, but you are not of the world. The realm in which you exist, you are rooted in the realm of spirit. You are rooted in the realm of potentiality. And so the good news is you are never meant to be permanently stuck. Now, that does not mean that you can always change and have things go the way that you would like them to go. That does not mean that you will never again encounter a dead end or a defeat or even a disaster. But what it means is that in the midst of all things, you can give thanks. Because if you indeed find yourself at a dead end, if indeed you find yourself crossing a valley that you do not know how to cross, know that I am that I am have brought you here to bring forth more of who you know yourself to be in this moment. For you would not be facing this if it was not for you to bring something forth in this moment, in this situation. So do not be dismayed, do not be overcome, and do not be lazy. Rise and awake and stir your own self and know that you are a seed, a divine seed, a packet of potentiality. And that you are here as the light of the world, as the wisdom of the world, and this world right now needs you, needs your light, need your love, need your wisdom. And all that is before you has been set before you to bring you to that place of saying, I am a promise. I am a possibility. I am a promise. Make that a capital P. 'Cause I am a great big bundle of God's potentiality. And if I will listen, I can hear that inner voice. And if I'll try, I'll be guided to make the right choice or correct my course. 'Cause I am a promise to be all I am created to be. So take time this week and meditate with this seed and know yourself as a divine idea of God. That is not just a word that sounds interesting. It is truth. For there is no thing that can be created that does not have supporting it, sustaining it, informing it as an in-pattern idea in the invisible realm. Know this truth for yourself. And know that you are not only human, you are meant to be human, because only in third dimension, this form, this time, can you experience and know and build upon the demonstration of all that you are. But know that now is the time to attune to the divine potential that is always available. Let yourself be stretched. Let yourself be used. Let yourself be healed. And let yourself know that you are a promise. You are a promise. You are a possibility. You are a promise with a capital P. You are a great big bundle of potentiality. And if you listen, you can hear God's voice. And if you're trying, you can make the right choice. You are a promise to be all you are created to be. Would you stand with me? I'm going to sing that one more time, and just to keep your hands together, but to ask you to turn around and just look at each other and see them as a giant acorn seed, but actually a seed of God, if you can imagine what that looks like, and extend that out to our live stream viewers. You are a promise. You are a possibility. You are a promise with a capital P. You are a great big bundle of potentiality. And if you listen, you can hear God's voice. And if you're trying, you can make the right choice. You are a promise to be everything God wants you to be. Now, the last part of the story, my cousin Scarlett that I told you about, when she was just about 4, coming out of all of that and healing, she was watching Veggie Tales. That's where this song comes from, Veggie Tales. And she went and she told her mom, she said, Mama, I'm a promise. I'm going to be all God wants me to be. Can you claim that to say, Mama, Father God? Mama, Father God? I better slow down on that one. I am a promise. I'm going to be all you want me to be. We are a promise. We are a possibility. We are a promise with a capital P. We are a great big bundle of potentiality. And if we listen, we can hear God's voice. And if we're trying, we can make the right choice. We are a promise to be all we are created to be. Put your hand on your heart, if you will. I am a promise to be all I am created to be. Amen. And so it is. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. We love you. Thank you. I love each and every one of you. Thank you so much. You may be seated. You know, it truly is. There's so much more love that we're available. I remember years ago when I was really starting to meditate and I was opening up to such love. And I was in this state of feeling love, love, love. And I had to have a root canal during that time. Yeah. And I'll never forget, no, it was it was a wisdom tooth that had to be pulled because it required a dental surgeon. So anyway, it was like not good, but I was in this place of love, 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 and I was on the table, and I remember the dentist, the surgeon was there, and they give you the medicine, and you have to count down, and I looked at him, and I just said, I love you. It was, every time I went back to the office, the nurses would look at me and say, I love you. But I was so happy that I was full of that instead of something else. So I'm going to walk with you to the edge of our own becoming because that's where we're called to be. I'm going to ask Rhoda to come up. She's got another beautiful song for us to send us out with today. I want to thank you for your financial gifts, for your steadfast giving. I can tell you that through the end of July, we have been in the black every month except one. In June, we took a big dip, but it came back up in July. And I just want you to know that our mortgage payment had been deferred. Certain loans had been deferred that really helped us keep expenses down. Some of these things are starting to kick in again. So I just want you to know that if this matters to you, just to know that your support is essential, that it does make a difference, and it has made a beautiful difference. Judy McCowan, would you please stand? She's a retired CPA who volunteers to help us with our finances. Yeah. And I really like it when I get smiley faces from her. Let's just say that. So thanks to each and every one of you. And most importantly, or equally importantly, I want to say that to so many now are watching for various reasons because you have found us during COVID and you're not physically close to here, and yet you are part of the spiritual community, or because you're part of the spiritual community and it's not yet right for you to come back physically. We want you to know that being there together around the globe at this time is very powerful. So wherever you are, thank you for supporting and being a part of this in consciousness and in spirit. So thank you so much. Rhoda and our band have another song for us. What's this one, Rhoda, that you're going to sing? This is I Own the Prize, Rhoda Weaver.
Wanted to say something quickly. I get emotional, y'all. Bear with me. But I just wanted to say that I love you. The people that I've met here have been such a blessing to me. So supportive. The message that Rev Darlene brought forth today is very on point for me. Some of you, most people, I think, know that I had been dealing with polyp on my vocal cords, and when I was first diagnosed 4 years ago, I also had nerve damage to my vocal cords. I had to take vocal rest for a long time, and things didn't go as well as I thought they would after I came back from vocal rest, and I have had periods of severe depression because of it, because it is what I love to do. But the support from this community here at Unity and other people that I've met along the way has meant so much to me in bringing forth my potential. And when Reverend Darlene showed the clip of the runner, I could totally relate, because that's what has helped me to continue to sing and, just not focusing on the fall and focusing on my best. I'm not always able to do what I want to do with my voice. The polyp is still there. The nerve damage is better, thankfully, but the polyp is there. It still affects me. But I know that I have that potential, and, I'm grateful that I can still sing in any capacity. And I think without the support of loving people, that I probably would have just stopped singing. And I just want to say thank you, and I thank you all for the support from the financial support for my move as well. So I'm gonna try to pull it together now and sing this song. Found in jail and no money for the go their bail. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on, hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. All in silence began to shout. Doors popped open, they all walked out. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on, hold on, keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on, hold on, hold on, keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Chains that we can stand are the chains of hand in hand. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Got my hand on the freedom plow. Wouldn't take nothing for my journey now. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Hold on, hold on, keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. Well, the only chains that we can stand are the chains of hand in hand. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. Got my hand on the freedom plow. Wouldn't take nothing for my journey now. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on, hold on, keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on, hold on, hold on, keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on, keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on, keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on.
Woo! Yes. Yes. Wow. Rhoda Weaver, you were not born to sing, you were born to sing. And that is a special gift. Thank you so much. We love you. I'm going to ask you to stand so we know that the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well because we are one with God. May you be blessed, and may you be a blessing. Thank you so much.